Madam President, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
You're in your final days as the first female president of an African country. When you step down, there won't be any more. What does that say to you?
It tells me that we haven't worked hard enough for parity, particularly in political participation. It saddens me to a certain extent because I represented breaking the glass ceilings in Africa. And I think there are lots of women out there. Haven't quite reached there, but the queue is forming.
Yeah, and you've been president for 12 years. 2005, you became president. It didn't happen. There weren't more female leaders. But what do you think your femininity, your gender, brought to this particular position, if anything?
It brought great aspirations to women and to girls. Today in Liberia, in Africa, and I tell you, going beyond that, my travels in the United States and Europe and other places, inevitably, there's someone who comes up to me and say, "You've inspired me."
I just want to start out by reminding everybody of how you came to power. It was after a terrible war in Liberia. There were warlords, and it was after this wonderful sort of grassroots action by a lot of Liberian women who said, enough already, enough of war.
At this stage, the women decided men have ruled this country for all these years, from the findings, from the formation, 1847, when we became an independent nation. And look what it's brought us. War, death, destruction. It's time we try something different. And they did everything they could. They went from door to door, they mobilized, they signed petitions, they gathered themselves in meetings, and more importantly, they voted en masse.
And there's been a wonderful book written about you in which it describes the election process, that women, basically took the ID cards from their sons, their husbands who may have voted for the male candidates who were standing against you, and then made sure that you were going to get the vote.
We can't live that story down, but it's true. But women decided something had to be done, and if it was non-conventional, it was non-conventional. And I think today, as they reflect upon what they did, I think they're very happy that it may not have been the morally right thing to do, but it was the right thing to do to get the result we wanted.
It really is a fairy tale story, but I know Liberia is not a fairy tale. I believe 64% of your people still live under the poverty line. There is still, endemic issues, corruption, and you went through the terrible Ebola crisis. Give us an idea of the challenges that you faced and what still remains to be done.
I like to always take it back to where we started. We inherited in 2006 a destroyed nation, a pariah state, and we brought it to the place where we restored basic services that have been missing for over 2 decades. In short, we brought Liberia back to becoming a nation again, a viable nation.
That's no mean feat. And you have obviously decided to stick to your constitution and not run again for a 3rd term. This is the constitution. What are you saying by doing that? Because there are plenty of African leaders who are just, dictators for life, presidents for life.
I'm sending a strong signal. Not only should we respect the Constitution and the law, but it also says that it's time for generational change. That we have young people that are vying for leadership, that have the capacity, that have the passion and the capability. And it's time for them to take over. And we have to make way for them. And if we are going to practice democracy, which we all want to do, and we all strive to do, then we've got to do it by example.
Did you ever say anything to your counterparts like President Mugabe or even President Kagame and the President of Equatorial Guinea?
In a joking way.
What did you say?
In those meetings, say, how long are you going to keep this presidency? You know?
Really? Did they take you seriously?
Not, I mean, the answer is, you know, well, I'm there. Huh? I mean, it's always a joking thing. But the message gets through in all of the statements that are made in all of our meetings that we must respect the Constitution. We have to set the example. And I think if you look around, you'll see that things have changed considerably.
President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, thank you so much indeed for giving us this exit interview.
Thank you, Nicole.